Hey world, it's Matthew. Welcome back to Wheatland TV. I'm doing a live stream right now. I just wanted to jump on here, talk about a few things that are happening in the world. So we're actually going to pull up the news right now and see what's new. Of course, you know that the elections are coming up next Tuesday. So that's a big deal. I got my 1776 Betty Ross flag here. Let's see if I can give you a zoom in here. 1776, that's got the 13 original colonies on there. Obviously, a lot of people don't like the fact that we are a free people in America. But anyway, Wheatland TV, maybe you've never seen Wheatland TV before. I'm just kind of relaunching this channel. Wheatland TV is all about faith, music, and imagination. My name is Matthew Spencer. I am a pastor, evangelist, musician, composer, aspiring entrepreneur, author. I do a lot of different things, and I'm based in Colorado. So Wheatland TV, really, the heart of Wheatland TV is evangelism. And as you might see back here, on the slide, I've seen this in my heart and in the spirit. I've seen this for a while. I've seen a wheat field, but I've also seen the clouds. Sometimes they're beautiful, but they're a storm cloud. So, and of course, in the book of John, Jesus said, he said, the field is white unto harvest. Pray therefore that the Lord of the harvest would thrust forth labors into the harvest field. The harvest is plentiful, but the labors are few. And so, our call is to go into the nations, to go and win people to Jesus Christ, because this is the final harvest. And what we're seeing now today is we are seeing the final harvest of the wicked and the righteous at the same time. Jesus talked about the parable of the tares and the wheat. And if you have not heard that parable before, the servants came to this master who owned a bunch of land, and they said, hey, you know what? We just discovered that your enemy has sown tares or weeds in your field. What should we do about it? And then the master said, you know what? You're going to have to let both the tares and the wheat grow together to the final harvest. And of course, that's a picture of the final harvest, the final harvest of men, women, boys, and girls. And then the angels are going to go in and reap the final harvest, and they're going to reap the tares and the wheat together. So make sure that you are a wheat and not a tare by choosing the Lord Jesus Christ. So I did hear, we're going to talk about some news today. News on my part today, I just launched a channel called Pastors, Politics, and Patriotism. So you can check that out, where I'll be talking about politics. I'll be talking about faith. I'll be talking about the intersection of what that looks like, why pastors should be involved in politics, why the church should be involved in politics. That is so important for us to get involved in politics. And I said, Pastor, if you're not involved in America, you are the government. So you really need to get involved. That is so, so very important. So you can check that out. It's on YouTube, Pastors, Politics, and Patriotism. I also talked about take the platform test. What does that mean? That means if you're afraid to say something because you're afraid of losing half of your platform, if you're afraid of preaching the truth because you're afraid people are going to walk out, half of your audience is going to leave, can't pay for the heating of your building, your platform is holding you hostage. And perhaps you need to rebuild your platform where you can and should speak truth to power. One of the prophets in the nation today, I consider him one of the prophets, Mario Murillo. He recently said, he basically was saying that pastors are really the politicians because they are trying to appease people. They're trying to please people. And pastors are not supposed to try to please people. We're supposed to shepherd them, right? So that's the job of a pastor, just keeping the flock safe, guarding them from wolves, yes, nurturing them, tending them. But you know what? If you're intimidated by your sheep, you're a weak pastor. Of course, we need grace. I need grace as a pastor too. Sometimes it's hard to say the truth. It's hard to tell people the truth. And we're always to do that. Speak the truth in love. So I wanted to get a couple news items today. We're going to go to the big news. I heard my friend saying, I just think of one of my favorite presidents, says President Trump, by the way, he says that we're to be first. we're to have firsthand news. We're not to always say, "Oh, I hear this or heard that." Like, no, we're supposed to actually be, firsthand. Uh, you should know things firsthand. So this is from the AP. Israel's Netanyahu appears to edge toward victory after vote. So we got a picture here of him celebrating with his wife. And I was just thinking, I said to a friend today, when Barack Obama was elected, the liberal media was saying, finally, an adult is in the room, and I'd like to say on the world stage, um, finally an adult is back in the room. It's kind of scary when the only adult in the room is Putin, who is yet to, we don't know yet if he's a Hitler, but he definitely is a czar. He is definitely a totalitarian. He's edging towards being a dictator, but he is definitely a czar. But anyway, Netanyahu is I think he's one of the good guys. He's got, he's got courage. So this says from the AP, former Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu appears headed toward victory Wednesday with some 85% of the ballots from national elections counted and showing that voters gave him and his far right allies what looks like, they always say far right, it's never the far left, it's always a far right, what looks like a majority in the country's parliament. Voters will still be counted and results were not final. But if preliminary indications were correct, Israel was potentially headed to its most right wing government, bolstered by a strong showing from the ultra nationalist religious Zionism party, whose members use inflammatory anti Arab and anti LGBTQ rhetoric. Of course, this is a bias. AP News is biased. Immediately, they're going to say they're biased by what they're, how they're counting that. So that was. This is reporting today, and today is, if you weren't looking at your watch or your clock or your calendar, it is the 2nd of November, 2022. Another thing I wanted to say, last night I saw the UN resolution, which I think might be a preemptive. They might have preempted Israel. They might have been doing that. I saw this. So we're going to look this up real quick. Thanks, guys, for joining me today. I saw this just last night. Okay, this is the Fox News. This is Fox News reporting. And they say UN committee votes for Israel to dispose of nuclear weapons, allow international inspectors. So this is coming from the Fox News. This was published yesterday, November 1st, which I think the timing is very, very, very peculiar. The timing's peculiar. The resolution on nuclear proliferation in the Middle East focused on Israel, but did not mention Iran. Did not. Can you get it? Did not mention Iran. So Netanyahu comes into power the next day. It looks like he's coming into power. The UN is already preempting his strong leadership. You guys, Iran has said that they're going to wipe Israel off the face of the map. They do that all the time. Death to Israel, death to the big Satan America, and death to little Satan Israel. And so what is the UN going to do? They're going to strip them of the rights to defend themselves. This is insanity. Okay, this is insanity. How would you feel if somebody said they were going to blow your house up? And basically that would be like the city council making a motion. Okay, there's a verified threat on your house. Somebody says they're going to come blow up your house. Your neighbor says, I'm going to destroy you. Then the city council basically votes to take your guns away from you. Say, we actually vote that you have guns. You have never said you've had guns, but we're going to come and take your guns from you. That's what's happening to Israel. It's insanity. Okay. The United Nations General Assembly's first committee voted for Israel to dispose of all nuclear weapons and have any and all nuclear sites under the watch of the International Atomic Energy Agency, the Jerusalem Post reported. The resolution passed overwhelmingly on Friday with a vote of 152-5, with only the United States, Canada, Israel, Micronesia, and Palau voting against. The European Union and 23 others abstained. Despite officially being a resolution on the risk of nuclear proliferation in the Middle East, the resolution submitted by Egypt, as it does annually, focused mainly on Israel without mentioning Iran. Okay, that is insanity. Okay, so guys, this is crazy. This is crazy. So those are a couple of interesting news items today. And then I wanted to also say something I saw. This cracks me up. So you might know by now that Elon Musk has taken over Twitter. It was kind of I don't know if it's considered a hostile takeover, but basically he bought out Twitter and he's taking it private, which is so great for free speech and getting rid of censorship. Obviously, in a free society, I think there should be some censorship. You can't threaten people's lives and go unpunished. Like people shouldn't be able to, it's like you shouldn't be able to walk into a room and start screaming fire. That's a public menace. You shouldn't be able to do that sort of thing. If people threaten the president of the United States, the Secret Service they're gonna investigate the guy. So there's certain things like that, that shouldn't happen. But otherwise, Elon Musk is bringing free speech back to Twitter. But I thought it was interesting that Twitter is now censoring President Biden. I'm not going to call him president because, for very obvious reasons, the one who styles as president, is now being censored. So if you go to his, I actually verified it last night personally. If you go to Twitter, you go to the POTUS account. So go to Twitter, and you could just type in Twitter fact checking Biden, and this is under the article Market Watch. Twitter adds fact check to Biden White House's tweet bragging about Social Security's COLA of 8.7%. So if you go there, the Twitter's actually starting to fact check Biden, which I think is so great. So for instance, if you go to the White House, it's at White House. I think also if you go to the POTUS account, you can find those. Just scroll down until you see it. There's a fact checker that says readers added context, though they thought people might want to know. So the White House, for instance, is claiming seniors are getting the biggest increase in their Social Security checks in 10 years through President Biden's leadership. And then the fact check says seniors will receive a large Social Security benefit increase due to the annual cost of living adjustment, which is based on the inflation rate. President Nixon in 1972 signed into law automatic benefit adjustment tied to the consumer price index. So that's one example. But I think it's so great that Twitter is actually calling Elon Musk is actually calling out, because he's in power now. He is the board, right? He's the chief twit, as he calls himself, not the CEO. One of his tweets, he said, "I don't know who the CEO is, but I'm the chief twit." So I'm going to actually go to POTUS right now. I got to figure out a way. Maybe next time I'll be able to show you guys what I'm browsing, so that way I can have more of interactive commentary going here. So I'm scrolling down. Yeah, okay, so I just found it. Okay, so this was October 29th, and Twitter was purchased. What day was that? That was 8 days ago. Okay, so that was, remember, the day that could live in infamy is Twitter walking in on October 26th, holding a kitchen sink and trying to be funny by saying, "Let that sink in," right? Um, so anyway, uh, President Biden. So if you didn't know that, Elon Musk walked into Twitter with a kitchen sink, which is, and then he tried to make a pun saying, "Let that sink in," which is kind of cute, I guess you could say. Um, so, but if you go to POTUS, this was on the 29th. President Biden, so-called President Biden, says some seniors pay $400 a month for insulin. It's ridiculous. Thanks to Inflation Reduction Acts, we're capping that cost at $35 a month. And then somebody fact checked them saying, while the Inflation Reduction Act capped insulin costs at $35 for individual on Medicare, it did not cap the cost for seniors on private insurance or anyone under the age of 65. So the fact checkers are actually giving Biden a taste of his own medicine. Thank God. So it's very interesting that I believe God is answering our prayers regarding judgment, and he's judging these social media companies that have been very anti-free speech. So actually, what we're going to do right now, as I wrap up this broadcast, I want to go. Oh, another thing, I was going to actually plug in some headphones, do this podcast right, man. All right, I want to actually listen to myself talk because people say how they like hearing themselves. So actually, I can hear myself a little bit better, which is a lot of fun. So so that's what I'm gonna do with some head. Oh, I like that. I can hear myself. How cool is that? All right, and I can zoom in and out, so you can guys see the studio room here. Actually, this is why I broadcast every Wednesday. By the way, Wednesday 10:10 Mountain Time, kind of a funny time, but this is where I broadcast from. This is the Bible school room at our church. And it's becoming a TV production studio, really. So it's kind of a Bible school room discipleship class. This is where I do the Wednesday discipleship class. I also did the healing room. The healing room for like a year and a half. Every Wednesday I broadcasted a talk on healing. So I have a library. It's a growing library, so you can check that out. So that's pretty cool. But what we're gonna do here, as I wrap up this broadcast, which I think I might start to keep these to about 20 minutes because I think that's a good time frame for a show, is about 20 minutes. Um, might be a little long for some people, but it's a good, an hour is, you feel like you're committing to watching an hour, whereas like 20 minutes, yeah, you might watch 20 minutes on somebody talking about something interesting. So Elon Musk, we're actually going to go to his. I'm kind of admire him, to be honest. If you ever want to get some encouragement, he has some amazing quotes on quitting. He basically at some point in his life determined that you'd have to kill him if you wanted to stop him because he was not going to stop, which is pretty impressive. So let's see what he has to say. His latest tweets are pretty goofy. Um, Looks like he tweeted a meme where basically he's comparing the $8 Starbucks that gives you 30 minutes of pleasure to $8 of Twitter verification, uh, 30 days. Okay, so he's giving you 30 days of pleasure as opposed to, so he's trying to compare that to Starbucks. Okay. Um, let's see, 1 hour ago, he says Twitter is simply the most interesting place on the internet. That's why you're reading this tweet right now. Okay. That's pretty funny. Okay. Um, he says an hour ago, being attacked by both right and left simultaneously is a good sign. I would have to agree with him. That's a good one. So I'm gonna like that one, and share that one. So and that's pretty good. Okay. What else does he say? So he says some other silly things. He says, to all complainers, please continue complaining, but it will cost you $8. Okay. Well, um, he's fighting for free speech, and that's really what matters. So, anyway, hey guys, thank you so much for checking out Wheatland TV today. My vision is to continue producing video content. I have a show you can check out called The Matthew Spencer Show. I'm a musician, composer, cartoonist, short film creator, and that's the show that's more creatively oriented. I just launched, as I said earlier in this podcast, today I launched a channel called Pastors, Politics, and Patriotism. Well, I will talk strictly not strictly, but I'll talk about politics and why Christians need to be involved in politics is so important. So I'll be talking about that. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to check out my website, matthewspencer.tv. There you will find all things Matthew. That's the portal for all the things I do because I'm in a bunch of things. So you might be wondering where you're going to find me. Well, go to matthewspencer.tv. That's where you will find my latest books, my latest messages, everything Matthew. So anyway, God bless you. Until next time, continue to live for the dream of Jesus. Bye-bye.